What is up, T.O.Gs? Out on the highway, a little two-lane action here. You know, you might watch this video and see these cars passing me. I'm just on my way back home from work. I'm not in any hurry. Getting out here recording some content and, you know, just doing my thing. I do my thing, you do yours. Everyone's happy. Well, how's it going? Guys, if you're new to the channel, my name is Eric. I'm that one guy. We make motorcycle content on the bike here, sometimes off the bike, but most of the time we're here on the motorcycle. I drive a 2015 KTM Super Duke R. Remember, during this video, if you find yourself liking what you're watching, or you find what you're watching helpful, make sure you hit that thumbs up down there. And again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We got new content every week. But guys, today we're talking about a certain topic today, and it's part of something that I started back a while back. I won't call it a series, but there was a handful of videos that I posted for people who were looking to buy their first bike. And today's video, I wanted to talk about regarding buying your first bike is should you buy a new bike as your first motorcycle? Now, I guess if we're going to talk generically and just in broad general terms, I would probably just say no. For your first motorcycle, I would just say no. Don't buy a new bike as your first bike. Even if you only plan on having that motorcycle for a little while before you upgrade, you know, it's to me, it's that whole buying a new car, buying a new vehicle, and off the lot, as soon as you drive it off the lot, you know, you just lost several $1,000s, if not a couple $1,000s. So just as your first bike, you want to find something that's you're going to be okay with dropping, that you're going to be okay with, you know, getting a ding here or there because if you're inexperienced, and something that's not too overwhelming. Of course you're going to get bored with your first bike, and so don't go out and blow a bunch of money on your first new bike. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, what I will say is if you're somebody like me who puts in a lot of time when you're making a big purchase, and I mean like an inordinate, just like ridiculous amount of research, amount of time, because I'm so when I make big decisions, I research the crap out of things. I take my time, I sleep on it, I sit on it for a good while. And something with like a motorcycle, sometimes it'll just take me months. This is my sixth motorcycle. This was my fifth. I bought a sixth. When I make a decision, it's deliberate and I take my time. It's not something that I'm going to make an impulse buy on. And obviously, most people I don't think have the kind of money to just impulse buy something that's going to cost you a couple to several $1,000s. So if that's the case and you're like me and you're really deliberate and you find the bike that you feel like you can start off on and stick with for a long time, you know, when I say a long time, maybe a year, 2 years before you think about upgrading to something new, then by all means, if you've got the disposable income to buy a new motorcycle as your first bike, I'm not going to be the one to tell you not to do it. Because I think, depending on your skill level, on your comfortability with riding bikes, based on that small sample size that you have from your your beginner rider course, you know your own, you know yourself, you know your comfortability level. If you're really afraid to ride still when you buy your first motorcycle, again, just take that into consideration. Now, what I will say is that the big difference between buying a new car as your first car and buying a new bike with your first bike is the learning curve of being able to operate that vehicle. When you get your first car, I mean, of course there's a learning curve, but at the same time, it's not the same as riding a motorcycle. Learning to ride a motorcycle, especially if you've never done it before, takes time, it takes practice, and that's something that you need to take into consideration when you buy a first bike, because if you want to practice, it's got to be a bike that's manageable as far as power goes, power delivery I should say. And you know, it's, again, we're talking about money, so it's not something that you want to get overwhelmed with. That's something that's easy to do on a motorcycle. Now cars, especially new cars nowadays, their learning curve is not as steep, and so the challenge here is finding the balance between something that you're not going to get super bored with really quickly, and finding something that you're going to be happy with for a while. Now the other thing I'll say is, depending on if you decide to buy a new bike as your first bike, is to make sure you do your research on bikes that hold their value. And now, especially because as a new rider, you're not sure exactly maybe the style or like the riding position that you're going to be the most comfortable in. So what you want to do is find a bike, no matter what style it is, it's sport bike, sport naked, cruiser, whatever it might be, adventure bike, dual sport, any kinds of those bikes. Whatever it is that you're deciding to ride, you want to make sure that you're going to find something that has good value, just because of the chance that you might get bored with that bike, or you might find yourself being like, okay, I'm trying out this adventure bike because I want to get into adventure riding, but it's too tall, you know, this bike has too much power and I'm overwhelmed. That combined with how tall it is, all these things are going to be factors when you buy your first motorcycle. And so again, these are all just things that you have to consider when you're buying your first bike. And whether that be a new bike or a used bike, I'm going to leave that decision with you. But again, I'm going to put my T.O.G spin on this and just say this is something, and maybe I'm playing the dad role here, right? If you're a younger person watching this video, it's so, you know, it's a shiny new bike, right? You might have the disposable income to do it, but I'm not going to say I'm going to guarantee you're going to drop the bike, but it's almost inevitable. It's almost guaranteed that you are going to drop your first bike, and that's going to be hard to eat. It's going to be hard to take, and that emotional toll that it's going to take on you if you've got a brand new bike that you just love. Taking that into consideration, I would say my recommendation, that one guy's recommendation, I'll put my stamp of approval on this message, is that you should just consider finding something of good value that you're going to get good resale out of when you inevitably decide to upgrade. And again, this isn't even taking into consideration the fact that riding might not be your thing. And so that's another thing to take into consideration as well. If maybe you find yourself pretty quickly being like, yeah, I don't enjoy riding a motorcycle as much as I thought I would, that's another thing that you gotta put down in the back of your mind. You gotta take that into consideration. But guys, that's all I got for you today. If you're new to riding, welcome to the club. If you found this video helpful, you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that thumbs up down there, which is the like button. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Guys, if you're out there riding, please be safe. Be kind to one another. My name is Eric. I'm that one guy. And I am out.